Around a year ago, I told myself I want to create a morning routine that I stick with. That was one of my big goals. It probably took me about 3 weeks before I despised my morning routine because I created this morning routine that I hated. It didn't feel good, it didn't feel flowy. So after I gave up, I decided to come at it with a totally different approach. I was like, okay, how can I just enjoy myself of a morning? How can I create the most feel-good morning routine ever? And that's when things started to click. Now I've had a morning routine, it's changed and it's flowed, but it's stayed relatively consistent for about a year. And I look forward to it and it feels helpful. And there's specific things that I focused on to get here. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the morning routine that I do. And I'm also just gonna give you every single morning routine tip that I can think of to help you create a morning routine that you stick with that feels so good that you look forward to. So this is where I start out of a morning. And one of the most difficult things for me in a morning is actually getting myself out of bed, not because I want to keep on sleeping, but because I love being cozy. So I made sure to put my alarm clock right near the bathroom of a morning, which is a walk away. And not having my phone as an alarm means that I don't have to exert any kind of willpower in the morning to make sure that I'm not going on social media or email because I don't have my phone. The next thing I'm doing in the morning is going to the bathroom, doing bathroom things. So I actually don't wash my face every morning because it makes me break out, but I splash my face with water, use some of this, which is so good if you have dry skin. So then I'm putting on my La Roche-Posay because we're sunscreen girls. It's 2023. From there, I head into the kitchen. I do all the basic morning stuff. I pour myself a cup of decaf. Lately, I'm really into Sultana brand, so I make a bowl of Sultana brand. For me in my mornings, I'm really into making things easier, so having just an easy, quick breakfast is really important to me. From there, I'm heading out into our courtyard. I have been trying to get myself to go outside of a morning since I heard Andrew Huberman talk about how important it is to expose yourself to light of a morning. When you don't expose yourself to natural light of a morning, you muck up your whole system. Your body is confused. Natural light triggers the release of all of the wake up chemicals, and it also schedules the release of all of the go to sleep chemicals. To really dumb it down. So something that's helped me in my mornings is having a morning menu. So a menu of things that I might want to do of a morning. Because every day is different, your energy is different, what you feel like doing is different. Honestly, my list at this stage is really just in my head, but you can definitely create a list on paper. On this morning, I read a little bit of a Kindle book, I used the Kindle app on my iPad, and I also did just a 20-minute, really simple, unguided meditation. Sometimes I might journal, other times I might take a few little notes. It just depends on what I feel like doing out of my morning menu. This probably won't suit you if you're someone who likes having habit streaks, but if you want to be more gentle with yourself and not quite so structured, this works so well. Don't give yourself too many choices because that'll just be overwhelming, but give yourself options so that on different days when you feel differently, when you feel lower energy, higher energy, you can choose what you want to do. One thing that changed everything for me when it comes to morning routines is the idea of doing what feels important. And there's a difference between knowing that something is important and feeling that something is important. I know that if I put yoga into my morning routine, that would be helpful, but it doesn't feel important to me. One of the best ways to find activities that feel important is to find your problems, your pain points, and ideally you want day-to-day pain. And then ask yourself, what could I do of a morning that would be like a soothing balm on that pain, that would noticeably reduce that pain in my day-to-day? For example, a pain point for me is not being able to step back from my thoughts and feelings. So meditation feels important to me because I know that when I meditate, the ability to step back from my thoughts and feelings is so much easier. So at least 3 times a week these days, I'm working out. And I've really designed my space so that working out feels so easy to start that it's actually difficult to put it off. And I've done that through a lot of environment design by pretty much having everything out ready to go. So here are some examples. I have a drawer with all of my workout clothes here, right next to my cork mat, which is kind of just forever out. I don't put it away because I don't want to have to get it out. So I'm going to quickly get dressed, get ready. The other life-changing thing that I have in my life is an app called Copilot. This video is sponsored by Copilot, but it's also an app that I would recommend to my friends, family, quite literally anyone who's like, oh, it's really hard to get myself to work out. If that's how you feel, Copilot. Copilot is an affordable fitness coach app where you get to work one-on-one with someone who creates you personalized workouts based on whatever your goals are. You get accountability from a coach who knows their stuff, and you get flexibility so you can work out at your own schedule. What is wild to me is that over 75% of people who sign up to Copilot are still consistently working out after 100 days. I've probably been using Copilot for about 6 months now, and I've worked out consistently for 6 months.
Not to toot your own horn, but I mean, since we've been working together, I mean, it's been going on 2 months now. I mean, I don't think you've missed a week of getting a minimum of 3 workouts, usually all 4. It's fantastic.
It's incredible. I definitely think it's just the low level of accountability, because without knowing that you were in the background looking, I'd be like, it's so easy to skip. Whereas before I was very much like work out here, then stop, and then work out there. Copilot has definitely increased my consistency. When you sign up to Copilot, you're going to be able to choose all of your preferences. You'll get matched up with your person, you'll have an onboarding call, and also throughout the week you're going to be constantly communicating with your coach. If I ever have any trouble with my workout, I'll be like, okay, this feels a little bit weird. I'll get a video from Andrew and he'll be like, here's a good way to do it. I'll test and trial that out, get back to him. Personally, I like the text accountability, but you could also set up video calls with your coach if that's your preference. If you have any kind of fitness goals, even if your fitness goals are just truly, I want to work out consistently, use my Copilot link down below to get a free trial with your own fitness and health coach. After I work out, I head straight to the shower because I'm usually puffy, sweaty, a little red. Now I'm getting ready and I'm planning my day. One thing that has really helped me when it comes to my workout habit as well is working out mindfully. When it comes to working out, when I'm mindful while I work out, I can feel how I'm not in my head. And a lot of people, when they talk about habits, they talk about rewards. And some people talk about external rewards. I feel like work out, have a piece of chocolate, that's your reward. I think that the best rewards are internal, and the best way to reinforce the habit is to become really mindful of the rewards and really notice them and how good they feel. Even when it comes to going outside of a morning, that used to be a struggle for me, but with meditation as a habit, I find that going outside is so much easier because meditating outside is so nice, and you're mindful the whole time of like how nice it feels to be outside, hearing the freaking birds, feeling the breeze on your face. Like, I know how simplistic that sounds, but try it. Being really mindful when you do your habits of how good they feel. The more mindful you are of a reward, the stronger the reward feels, and the more your body wants to reinforce the habit. I've seen this talked about a lot in the opposite. So a lot of people talk about how rumination and worry are habits, and when you become really mindful of how grotty it feels to ruminate and to worry, naturally your brain starts to desire those feelings less and you stop ruminating and worrying quite so much. But what I don't see talked about as much is the opposite, which is what I just talked about. Being really mindful of when something feels so good, making your body want to reinforce and do that thing again and again. So that's my take. Lately, I've been planning my days in the morning. I still think that it's way better to do it at night, but this is just what I've been in the habit of doing. What I'm doing right now to plan my days is seriously so simple and basic that I feel silly even showing you, but here we are. So I'm usually working from a weekly list. Might be in Notion, might be on paper. I've got this graph paper and I'm just dividing it into 4. Then I do a little resistance map for the big task that I want to do for the day. Resistance mapping is a good starting place, especially if you're feeling like, oof, I don't really know where to kick off, start with the resistance map. Lately, I haven't been planning much more than just my one big task for the day. And then I'll just sort of work my way through these other boxes, looking back at my weekly plan and being like, okay, what do I feel driven to do on that weekly plan? I've talked about planning routines for literally years now. How to plan better, how to be more productive. And one thing that I've actually come to believe is that everyone is different and the way that you plan is different, and it will change season to season based on what feels good for you in that moment. What works for you on some days when you're really high energy may not work for you on other days when you're feeling like, blah, I don't feel like doing anything. And that's one of the reasons that I actually shut down my planner brand, which is Life Map Collective, because I was like, oh, these are so rigid in the way that they expect people to plan, and everyone is truly different. And I'd much rather cater for that flexibility rather than trying to put everyone into a box. So even though you've just seen my planning routine, it may not be the best planning routine. You might take bits and pieces and be like, oh, I want to do that, and experiment, and then be like, wait, I don't like that, I'm gonna do this instead. And that's truly what I recommend that you do to build a planning routine that feels good for you. If you like this video, you might like my video that's all about how to create a planning routine that works for your brain. I go really in depth on things to think about when you're building a weekly planning routine or even a daily planning routine, and I have that linked on the screen and down below. Don't forget to check out my Copilot link down in the description if you want to create a consistent workout habit. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you soon.